Good morning, students. So, today we are going to revise the second chapter, that is Principles of Management. So, from this chapter, the total marks allotted is 7 plus 5. Okay, so you have 1 marks 1 question, 2 marks 1 question, 4 marks 1 question, and 1 practical oriented question. So, totally from this chapter, you will have questions of 12 marks. So 12 marks is the question each chapter in the bharat. So we'll start with section A. These are the important questions that may arise for your examination. So see that, like I told you, see that you are studying these questions and prepare for your examination. So the first question is, who is known as the father of general management? Yes, who is the father, or who is known as the father of general management? So the father of general management, who is known as the father of general management? It is Henry Fayol. So Henry Fayol is known as father of general management. So there is a difference between general management and scientific management. So see that you are not getting confused with general management and the scientific management. So Henry Fayol is known as the father of general management. So the second question is, name any one new technique of management developed on the basis of principles of management. Name any one new technique of management developed on the basis of principles of management. So one technique is operation research or cost accounting. So operation research is one new technique of management developed on the basis of principles of management. So you can write as operation research or cost accounting. So both the answers are right. So either you write operation research or cost accounting. So these two are the new techniques of management developed on the basis of principles of management. So you need to write any one among these two. It may be operation research or cost accounting. So the third question is, who is called as the father of scientific management? Who is called as the father of scientific management? So the father of general management is Henry Fayol, and the father of scientific management is F.W. Taylor, that is Frederick Winslow Taylor. So Frederick Winslow Taylor is called as the father of scientific management. Frederick Winslow Taylor is called as the father of scientific management. Frederick Winslow Taylor is called as the father of scientific management. So the fourth question is, who advocated separation of planning and execution of functions in any organization? Who advocated separation of planning and execution of function in any organization? So F.W. Taylor, that is F.W. Taylor, Frederick Winslow Taylor, advocated separation of planning and execution of function in the organization. F.W. Taylor advocated separation of planning and execution of functions in the organization. Fifth one is, what is standardization according to Taylor? What is standardization according to Taylor? So the textbooks are available with you. So what you can do is, like, you can go through the textbooks in order to get the answer, or one more thing what you can do is, like, you can just copy from this video. Okay, so what is standard according to Taylor? So standardization according to Taylor refers to the process of setting standards for every business activity. Standardization according to Taylor refers to the process of setting standard for every business activity. Process of setting standards for every business activity. So the next question is, How simplification differs from standardization according to Taylor. How simplification differs from standardization according to Taylor. So standardization, like I told you, it refers to the process of setting standards for every business activity. Yes, it is a process of setting standards for every business activity. Whereas simplification, it is nothing but eliminating unnecessary diversity of product. Yes, so what you do under simplification is just eliminate the unnecessary activities that happens in the organization. Organization ಏನು unnecessary activities ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ eliminate ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Just eliminate the unnecessary activity which takes place. So simplification is nothing but eliminating unnecessary diversity of product or diversification of product. So what is the aim of simplification according to Taylor? All these three questions are related to one another. See, first question is what is standardization according to Taylor. Second question is how simplification differs from standardization according to Taylor. Third one is like what is the aim of simplification according to Taylor. So simplification totally aims at eliminating unnecessary diversity of product. Totally eliminates, totally aims at eliminating unnecessary diversity of product. So if you learn this difference between, that is difference between standardization and simplification, then you easily we can answer the meaning of standardization as well as simplification. The eighth question is, who strongly advocated piece wage system? Who strongly advocated piece wage system? So F.W. Taylor advocated piece wage system. F.W. Taylor advocated piece wage system. So F.W. Taylor was the one who brought the techniques of scientific management like functional foremanship, standardization and simplification of work, method, motion, time, fatigue, differential piece wage system. So all these were introduced by F.W. Taylor. So likewise, the piece wage system was also advocated by F.W. Taylor. So F.W. Taylor strongly advocated piece wage system. Ninth question is, state the number of principles of management propounded by Henry Fayol. State the number of principles of management propounded by Henry Fayol. So Henry Fayol has given 14 principles of management. Henry Fayol has given 14 principles of management. So 14 principles are given by Henry Fayol and 4 principles are given by F.W. Taylor. So the number of principles which was propounded by Henry Fayol is 14. So 14 principles of management were propounded by Henry Fayol. The 10th question is, which management principle of Fayol advocates that there should be only one boss in each individual employee? Which management principle of Fayol advocates that there should be only one boss for each individual employee? So under your principles of management given by Fayol, so we learned each and every principles. Yes, so we learned division of work, authority and responsibility, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction. So unity of command is a principle of Fayol which advocates that there should be only one boss for each individual employee. Unity of command is a principle of Fayol advocates that there should be only one boss for each employee. There should be only one boss for each individual employee. So 11th question is like principles of management are not. So it's like you have options like universal, flexible, absolute, behavioral. Yes. So principles of management are not absolute. They are not absolute. They are not perfect. Yeah. Okay. So they are not absolute. The 12th question is, how are principles of management formed? How are principles of management formed? So option A is in a laboratory, B is by experience of managers, C is by experiences of customers, fourth one, that is D, by propagation of social scientists. See, what you do is like you go through all these options and then you get into a conclusion. So while I was explaining about the principles of management, yes, so I told you that principles of management, it is formed by the experiences of manager. It is formed by the experiences of manager. It's not the experience of customer, or it is not created or prepared, formed in a laboratory. ಅದನ್ನು ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ರೇಟರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ just the experience of manager which helped in formation of principles of management. So the 13th question is, which of the following statement best describes the principles of division of work? Which of the following statement best describes the principle of division of work? So one is work should be divided into small tasks, labor should be divided, resources should be divided among jobs. It leads to specialization. So division of work is nothing but the work of the employees, or which the work available in the organization has to be divided. So the work, it has to be divided into small tasks. It is not the labor who has to be divided. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೇಬರ್ನ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಥವಾ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸನ್ನು ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದ ವರ್ಕ್ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ಅಮಾಂಗ್ ದಿ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ವರ್ಕ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ಇಂಟು ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಟಾಸ್ಕ್. So the 14th one is, he or she keeps machines, materials, tools, etc. ready for operations by concerned workers whose work is described by this sentence under functional foremanship. She or he keeps machines, materials, tools, etc. ready for operation by concerned workers whose work is described by this sentence under functional foremanship. So under functional foremanship, you learned about different people. Yes, so we learned about instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost clerk, disciplinarian, speed boss, gang boss, repair boss, inspector, everyone. Okay, so each and every person under your planning in charge as well as production in charge has or have their own work to do in the organization. So the work of keeping the machines ready for operation is the work of gang boss. So gang boss is the one who is responsible for keeping the machines, material and tools ready for operation. Yes, so the answer will be gang boss. So when coming to section B, so you will have one question from section B, that is 2 marks question ಒಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಷ್ಟನ್ನು ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಸಾಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. So the first question is, give the meaning of mental revolution as propounded by Taylor. Give the meaning of mental revolution as propounded by Taylor. So mental revolution, it involves a change in the attitude of workers and management towards one another from competition to cooperation. Give the meaning of mental revolution as propounded by Taylor. So Taylor was the one who propounded mental revolution. So mental revolution, it involves a change in the attitude of workers. It involves change in the attitude of workers and management towards one another from cooperation, that is competition, to cooperation. So competition should be totally eliminated and a concept of cooperation has to be brought into existence in the business organization. So what is discipline according to Fayol? what is discipline according to Fayol. So discipline is the obedience of organizational rules and employee agreement which are necessary for the working of the organization. Discipline is the obedience to organizational rules and employment agreement. Discipline is the obedience to the organizational rules and employment agreement which are necessary for the working of the organization. So the third question is state two differences between unity of command and unity of direction. So the differences is already given in your textbook. The differences are already given in the textbook. ನಿಮ್ಮ textbook ಅಲ್ಲಿ already differences ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Unity of demand unity of command ಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ unity of direction ಗೆ. So ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, you select any two. This okay, so you just select any two and write. So unity of command, it prevents dual subordination. Unity of command prevents dual subordination. Unity of direction prevents overlapping of activity. So dual subordination is totally eliminated in unity of command, and overlapping of activity is prevented under the unity of direction. So unity of direction, it prevents overlapping of activity. So the second difference is unity of command affects an individual employee. It affects an individual employee. Unity of direction affects the entire organization. Unity of direction affects the entire organization. So the fourth question is, what is a scalar chain? Scalar chain. What is scalar chain? So what is scalar chain is a very important question. So there are lot of chances that it may arise for your final exam. So what is scalar chain? So the formal line of authority from highest to lowest ranks are known as scalar chain. The formal lines of authority from highest to lowest ranks are known as scalar chain. The formal lines of authority from highest to lowest ranks are known as scalar chain. Fifth one is, what is gangplank? What is gangplank? So gangplank is a shorter route in a scalar chain which allows employees at same level to communicate with each other directly. Gangplank is a shorter route in the scalar chain which allows employees at the same level to communicate with each other directly. So it should not be used only, it should not be used on a regular basis. It should be used only in case of emergency. It should be used only in case of emergency. Next, we'll go to section C. So under that, the first one is, discuss the significance of principles of management by explaining any 4 points. Discuss the significance of principles of management by explaining any 4 points. So in your textbook, you have a concept called significance of principles of management. Yes, significance of principles of management. So what you do is, like, you have 6 points under significance of principles of management. You have providing managers with useful insights into reality, optimum utilization of resources and effective administration, that is scientific decision. Fourth one is meeting changing environment requirements, fulfilling social responsibility, management training, education and research. So all these are the different significance of principles of management. So these are the different significance of principles of management. What you do is, like, when such questions are asked for 4 marks, you write any 4 points. So if it is specified like any 4 points, you write any 4 points. Okay, so what happens is, like, sometimes there are chances that one of the point may be wrong which you have explained. ಏನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಗಿರುವ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅಂಥ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ you write 1 point extra with explanation. So if you are not perfect with the answer, what to do is like, see, if they have asked 4 points, so in this question, that is, discuss the significance of principles of management by explaining any 4 points. So if you have doubt with any of the point, explanation correct ಆಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ಹಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ 6 ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬರೀ 4 ಮಾತ್ರ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ನೀವು 5 ಬರೀಬೋದು. ಅದು ನೀವು ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ದಿದ್ರು ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ದರೂ ಒಂದನ್ನು ಬರೆಯೋದ್ರಿಂದ ತಪ್ಪಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಟು ದಿ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಬರೆಯೋದು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು. So you can write providing managers with useful insights into reality, optimum utilization of resources, it is optimum utilization of resources and effective administration, scientific decisions, meeting changing environment requirements, ಮತ್ತೆ fulfilling social responsibility, management training, education and research. So ಇಷ್ಟರಲ್ಲಿ you can write any 4 or 5 with proper explanation. Proper explanation. So that will give you 4 marks. The proper explanation. So there is no necessity to write the introduction. There is no necessity to write the introduction. So if you write introduction also, it's well and fine, not a problem. So it's like, if you're willing to write the introduction, then okay. If it is if you're not willing, then it's well and good, not a problem. Okay, so the next question is, the next question is, explain the principles of management contributed by Taylor. Explain the principles of management contributed by Taylor. So when coming to the principles of management of Taylor, that is scientific management. So you have 4 points. One is science, not a rule of thumb. Science, not rule of thumb. Harmony, not discord. Cooperation, not individualism. And development of each and every person to his greatest efficiency and prosperity. One is science, not rule of thumb. Second one is harmony, not discord. Third one is cooperation, not individualism. And the fourth one is development of each and every person to his greatest efficiency and prosperity. So this question is very important. So your first question, that is significance of principles of management, as well as your principles of scientific management, which is contributed by Taylor, is also important. So what you do is like, you write all the points first. Yes, first write all the 4 points, like science, not rule of thumb, harmony, not discord, cooperation, not individualism, development of each and every person to his greatest efficiency and prosperity. And then, yes, first you note down all the points. 4 points ಅನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಸೈಡಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆಯಿರಿ, one after the other. ಅದು ಕಳೆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಪುನಃ point ಅನ್ನು ಬರ್ದು, then you start explaining. So what is rule of thumb? Yes, so what is a rule of thumb? So the traditional methods, yes, which happens in the organization. So one method should be developed through organization, that is study and analysis. So it should substitute the rule of thumb throughout the organization. Okay, so this is all about the science, not rule of thumb. So science, not rule of thumb, harmony. So there has to be a good harmonious relation between the management and the worker. Yes, both should realize that each one is important. So when coming to your cooperation, not individualism, it's like there should be a complete cooperation between the labor and the management. Yes, so there should be no individualism available in the organization. So employees should be rewarded for their suggestions, which results in the reduction of cost, and if any important decisions are taken into confidence. So when they are provided, or when the employee in the organization provides any good suggestions, then those employees in the organization should be rewarded. Then development of each and every person to his greatest efficiency and prosperity is like the person, that is according to Taylor, it's like each person should be scientifically selected. Yes, the work assigned the work assigned to him should be exactly to his capabilities. Yes, according to his capabilities. The work which is assigned to him should suit his personal, mental and intellectual capabilities. Yes, so this increases the efficiency in the organization. So they should be given with a proper training in the organization. So all this should be written under the development of each and every person to his greatest efficiency and prosperity. So the third question is explain the 4 aspects of work study developed by Taylor. Explain the 4 aspects of work study developed by Taylor. So when coming to 4 aspects of work study developed by Taylor, so you have 4 studies, like one is method study, motion study, time study and fatigue study. Yes, method study, motion study, time study and fatigue study. So under method study, it says that the one best way of doing the work has to be selected. So motion, it's like reducing the unnecessary movements in the organization. So unnecessary movements of the organization have to be eliminated. So when coming to your time study, it's like the time taken to finish up each kind of work. So standard time is fixed for the whole of the task by taking several readings. So here it's like it should be according to the time. So fatigue study is like the employee in the organization, he can't work continuously, so he has to be given with certain rest intervals. Yes, so this will increase his efficiency in the organization. It will improve his potential to work efficiently. So if an employee works continuously without any what do you say breaks, then what happens is capacity is energy to work continuously in the organization totally reduces. So that should not happen in the organization. So all this should be explained in a proper manner. ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕಟ್ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನೋಡಬೇಡಿ. ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಪೂರ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ 4 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ತಗೋಬಹುದು. So the next we'll go to section D. Okay, so under section D, the first question is like explain the functional foremanship of Taylor. Explain the functional foremanship of Taylor. So when coming to your functional foremanship, what you have to do is like you have to explain about the functional foremanship of Taylor. Yes, so you have to explain totally about the factory management system. So how the things in the organization work. So like I told you in the previous class, it's like all work in the organization cannot be done by one single individual. So it's like each employee should have, or each work should be assigned to different people. So it's like the work in the organization gets easily. So Taylor, he advocates separation of planning and execution functions. For that reason, he brings this functional foremanship. Under that, you will have planning in charge and production in charge. You will have instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost clerk, disciplinarian, speed boss, gang boss, repair boss and inspector. So all these people. So what are the work of all these people? So what is the work of instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost clerk, disciplinarian, speed boss, gang boss, repair boss and inspector. So all this will have to be explained in a proper manner with a neat diagram which is given in the textbook. In textbook ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಬಿಡಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ 8 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಸ್ಕೋರ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So the second question is explain the nature of principles of management. Explain the nature of principles of management. So ನಿಮ್ಮ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ಕನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ you have the concept called nature of principles of management. So this concept is also very important from your examination point of view. So ನಿಮ್ಮ examination point of view ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ ಇದು nature of principles of management ಕೂಡ ತುಂಬ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ you have 7 points. Under nature of principles of management, you have 7 points. One is universal applicability, second one is general guidelines, third one is formed by practice and experimentation, fourth one is flexible, fifth one is mainly behavioral, sixth one is cause and effect relationship, seventh one is contingent. So all this. So what you do is like you write all this if possible. ಸೊ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನೀಟಾಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಲ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಬಿಲಿಟಿ, ಎಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಲಿ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಬಲ್. second one is general guidelines. So they are just a mere guideline and not absolute. They are not absolute. They are just guidelines, and it has to be followed, or it can be followed in the business organization. It is formed through practice and experimentation. It is totally flexible, it is not rigid, so it can be changed according to the situations of the business organization. It is totally mainly behavioral in nature because it is run by the human being. So human behavior totally influences this management principle. So cause and effect, so it's like principles of management. Principles tells us if the particular principle was applied in a particular situation, what would be the likely effect that happens in the business organization. The last one is like contingent. So what you do is like you explain the contingent. So application of principles of management is to take contingent. The application of principles has to be changed according to the requirement, so it cannot be implemented blindly. So after that, what you do is like you give a proper conclusion. Yes, ಒಂದು proper conclusion ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Yes. Last one is like you have a practical oriented question. As a manager, that is as a general manager, list out any 10 FAIOL's principles of management which you would like to adopt in your business organization. So you know 14 principles of Henry Fayol. So what you do is like you just write any 10 principles of management. Yes, you know 14 principles ಇದೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೆ 10. Why? Because ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿರೋದು ಆಸ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಔಟ್ ಎನಿ 10 FAIOL's principles of management which you would like to adopt in your business organization. So what you can do is like you can write any 10 principles of management. So this is all about your second chapter, that is principles of management.